This is Willem Baird and Mallory Flippin. Mallory will be telling us the story of Dionysus.
Dionysus was the son of the beautiful and gentle mortal Smele, and the mighty Zeus, ruler of the Olympian deities. Zeus and Smele had been having a love affair for quite a while. Smele had no idea that her lover was really Zeus, since he always came to her in another form. Hera had no trouble figuring out what her husband was up to, and decided to put an end to it. Hera, disguised as Smele's nurse, convinced her to make Zeus take an oath that he would grant her a single wish. Smele then asked him to reveal his identity, his true self. Zeus knew that his true form would kill her. But Smele refused to change her request, and Zeus had no choice but to comply, since he had sworn an oath. So he changed into his true form, and thunderbolts filled the room. Smele was struck by the lightning and died. Zeus, with the help of his trusted assistant Hermes, had to rescue Dionysus from Smele's womb. They stitched the premature infant into his thigh, and Zeus carried him until he was ready to be born. Hera was not amused with this, so Hera had the newborn Dionysus killed by a couple of titans who tore him to bits. When he died, a pomegranate tree began to grow where his blood had fallen. Disconcerted by this, the Titans decided to be on the safe side and boil the pieces of his body into a great cauldron. Luckily, he was resurrected by his grandmother, Gaia, and was entrusted to the goddess Persephone for safekeeping. Persephone, in turn, hid him with a king and his wife, who disguised him in girls' clothing and hid him in the women's quarters of their palace. Hera eventually discovered that he was still alive and resumed her campaign of harassment, driving his royal foster parents insane and causing them to kill their own son when they mistook him for a deer. To protect the infant god, Hermes changed Dionysus into a baby goat and took him into a group of mountain nymphs to be raised. The nymphs doted on the child, feeding him honey and doing everything they could to help him feel wanted. While living in the mountains, Dionysus invented the process of growing grapes and making wine. As he grew to manhood, Hera found him again and drove him into a state of madness. Dionysus started to wander mindlessly through the Greek countryside, where he became known as the Wanderer. He developed quite a following of men and women who worshipped him in the mountains, drinking, dancing ecstatically to frenzied music, and otherwise behaving like wild ones. Their celebrations alternated with periods of deep meditation and extended contemplative silence. Dionysus was rapidly becoming well known as the result of his followers and their wild celebrations. Naturally, Hera soon heard of him. Rather than deal with her next moves, Dionysus did the smart thing and simply took off. Traveling to Egypt, India, and the Aegean Islands, Dionysus had many adventures and acquired many friends and worshippers, teaching the locals to grow grapes and mated. During his travels abroad, Dionysus continued to gather more followers, which was very threatening to the rulers of these countries. Many of them opposed him, and there was often great bloodshed. Frequently, Dionysus used the trick of turning the rulers, or his family, or the citizens of his country completely mad, with often horrific results. Dionysus tired of his travels and began to yearn for home. To make the trip, Dionysus boarded a ship scheduled to sail to Greece, not realizing that it was actually a pirate ship. The sailors, unaware that he was a god, turned the ship around to sail for Asia, where they planned to sell him into slavery. Realizing their intent, the Greek god Dionysus foiled their plans. He turned their oars into serpents, caused vines and ivy to engulf the masts and riggings. Dionysus turned himself into a ferocious lion. While all of this was happening, the air was filled with eerie sounds of flutes and ghost-like beasts. Crazy with fears, the pirates jumped into the ocean and quickly turned into harmless dolphins. Given his spectacular success in foreign lands, and with his worship now being established worldwide, his divinity could no longer be ignored on Mount Olympus. Dionysus was asked to come home and take his rightful place among the other Greek gods. Even the vengeful Hera eventually accepted him.
Thank you to Mallory Flippin for telling us the story of Dionysus. Such a wonderful